Hey everyone, I'm here to give you an assembly video, to show you an assembly video on these channel construction balisongs. Now I'm going to make it really quick because I made another video earlier yesterday and it was really long-winded. I tried to put in a lot of points, tried to be as detailed as possible. A lot of people had troubles with seemingly simple parts. You know, it is a very simple design. These are not meant to be complicated. Anyway, so this is my Ti46. This is my FU47SS. These the difference is 440C steel, stainless steel handles, titanium handles, D2 blade. This model has stainless steel washers. This model has brass washers. This model has this type of pin pivot system with set screw holes in the center of them, and with set screws obviously. And this does not. This has a closed presentation side and just a couple of hex screws on the screw side, which are just as beautiful as the other because I've polished them all up anyway. I polished this knife, so your knife is not going to come looking like this. It'll look like this after I get a hold of it, but it's not going to look like this when you first get it. It's going to look brushed. It's going to look brushed like this titanium handle, and I'm going to leave these brushed because I like this knife like this. Anyhow, okay, I'm going to make it quick so that I can make the video nice and short for you guys, with a couple of tips and omissions from the last, corrections and omissions from the last video, because the last video I said a lot of things. I gave you a suggestion to put a measurement across here. Don't worry about the measurement across this area here, because you're going to have to adjust these by filing or sanding or using a sharpening stone. You're going to have to take down the sides here so that once the knife is closed, the latch will latch. This is a non-adjustable latch, whereas this knife has an adjustable latch. This turns and you can set different depths. This does not. So if you make a mistake and you take too much material off this here, the latch will be sloppy, you won't be happy. Alright, so what you do is you take off a little bit at a time, keep testing it, and once it finally latches with a good squeeze of these two handles together, stop, because the knife will wear itself in and it'll get easier over time. Okay, so let's keep moving on. And okay, so you want to source out your parts. You want to make sure you got a pin, make sure you got your screw, make sure you got your set screw, your hex screw and your set screw. 2 washers per side, so same thing on this side: pin, set screw, hex screw. And for your latch hardware, you got your latch, obviously, you got your 2 screws, and you got your 2 pins with the screws go into the pins, and your spring. And that's all that this knife has, and this is a really simple design. This is pretty much the same thing, has all the same parts basically. Like I said, the differences of the pins. Now, to make sure that you have the safe handle and the safe side of the blade, the non-sharpened, oriented properly, make sure that the channels are facing outward, right? So you got your bite handle, which is the one with the latch, and you got your safe handle, the one without the latch. So the bite side of the blade faces the bite handle. The safe handle of the blade faces the safe handle. There you go. It's simple enough. Now, to get it going, take a pin, put it in the hole from the bottom side. Take a washer. Now, this is a tip that I wanted to revisit from the last video. These washers are not perfect. They're punched out of a piece of sheet metal, and to get them better, because there are high spots and low spots on the washers, so to get them breaking in better for you, it'll shorten your break-in time, and your knife will operate smoother sooner, is to take your stone, put the washer up against the stone, and just file it a little bit, take it down a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to try to zoom in here for you, just to give you a little. All right, there's high spots and low spots. Now, all right, so once you've got 4 washers fixed, you know, after you corrected the high spots and low spots, you don't want to grind lots off them. You just want to take a little bit off, make them flat in some certain areas. Don't got to take a lot off, and don't press really hard on the stone. So you just want to you're just starting off the washers, because after you put your knife together and you tighten it all down and you lube it up, you play with the knife a little bit and it'll wear itself in properly, so don't worry about it. Okay, so you get your pin in on one side, and you take your washer and you find the flat side. There's a flat side and a more rounded side. You'll see it, you'll feel it with your fingers, and you can see it with your eyes better than on camera, so no problem here. So you put your pin in, let it stick out, I don't know, a couple millimeters, whatever. Put your washer on, then just back the pin off just enough to get the blade to scooch underneath, and then pin it together completely, like push the pin straight up. Don't worry about it right now. That way you can hold everything together with one hand. And I'm gonna have to do the switch out change out with my hands, but here's a trick. Take your flat side down now, put it up against the blade like that, just push it underneath the handle like that, underneath the pivot area, and then let the pin fall down, or you might have to push it down a little bit with a screwdriver, just enough while you're holding it on the other side with your finger, just enough to get the washer in underneath. Okay, then center it like that with your screwdriver. And then, you know, you just move it back and forth a little bit till it seats, and there it has seated. Now you take your hex screw. Just want to make sure this stays in focus. Okay, you take your hex screw, put it on the top side. You take your T6, screw it down. Now, when your knife is new, these screws have a little bit of Loctite on them, and they might resist going down all the way, and the pin will spin on the back side. There's a trick to that, and I'll tell you after. So you get both of them on for now, and screw it down as far as it'll go, and if it starts spinning, don't worry, there's a trick I'm going to show you in this after I get this handle on. So you just repeat on the other side. Grab a pin, stick it under, flat side up. Put the blade in, pin the blade, flat side down, scooch it under, back the pin off just a little bit to get this under, play with it just a little bit to, there it is, you heard that click, now it's pinned. Grab your hex screw, T6, push it down. Now this is the trick. Now you got both on, you can provide a little bit of resistance with your fingers. Don't crank on it, just, you know, just squeeze it a little bit snug. Now you don't have to worry about these spinning, because now with this pressure, you're stopping those pins rotating inside there. So just snug them down a little bit until things look, you know, they stop, until you find that where they start to resist a little bit. You want them to resist a little bit at first. Oh, shouldn't they swing freely? Yeah, they should swing freely, but that comes after you break them in. Just snug them down until they get really, not really stiff, but you want them to move. But they are stiff now, okay? So you snug them down till they're a little bit stiff, okay? Take your sex screws, that's what I said, or didn't I? With a T3, and don't cross thread. Go gentle until they go in. Everything should be really smooth. Then you just want to just snug it with finger pressure. Don't crank on it hard. Same thing. take your sex screw. They're called set screws, but I made a mistake earlier, so I'll call them sex screws now. So you take your sex screw, snug it in, finger tight. No play. Okay? And it moves pretty decently. It's not a lot of resistance. Don't worry about that right now. They will swing freely with a little bit of lube and with some wearing in when you play with the knife. Now, to get the latch hardware together, you just take your spring, open side, hook it onto the end of your latch. Okay, there's that hole. Put it down the hole. With that, you know, you want that to, the pin side to face like that. So take your pin and figure out which side you want that head on, and I want it on this side. So take your pin, you don't have to have it on this side, it's just my preference. If your preference is the same, great. It's not, good, put it the other side, no problem. It's ambidextrous in that sense, ambidextrous. My tongue ain't working today. Okay. On camera, it's hard because I'm trying to do it facing you, facing the camera. So what happens is the gravity is keeping that spring down and away from the pin. So I'm trying to lift it with the screwdriver into place, and I am just about to get it now. And I lost it. Sorry, guys. At the same time, I'm trying to rush just to show you guys quickly without making the video super long. The last one was 48 minutes. Yikes. You know what I mean? That was long, but it has some pretty good tips in there, so you can go back and look at that and you know, skip through certain parts and or watch the whole thing. It's up to you. I enjoyed myself even though it was long. Okay, I'm gonna have to do it like, I'm gonna have to cheat and not show you guys what I'm doing here. Gotta get it. No, right, no. All right, that's good when problems happen right on camera, because it'll show you that, you know, this is not a problem, it's just being difficult. So that way you can see that everybody's human, and sometimes things don't work out exactly. Let me get this in. Oh my god, this is becoming difficult. Fell out completely. I swear, I put this thing together like already 3 times and I never had this much trouble. Now the 4th time, it's being all stupid. It's really because I'm trying to rush, that's why. I should just calm down a little bit. Murphy's Law, you know what I mean? So when you have to show everybody how easy it is, it gets hard. Yeah. Okay. Nope, still under. Oh, Yay! Okay, everybody, clap, 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 clap. Golf clap. Okay, it's in. Don't come back out now, or else people are gonna get pissed off that the video is getting so fucking frustrating. Oh, I said fuck. Sorry, I won't say fuck anymore. All right. Start it off with your fingers, because you know it's better that way. You don't cross thread them. And finish it off with a screwdriver. I'll just move fast. With my just the bit, flat head bit, I'll just orient the screw head to look nice, vertical. You don't have to have them vertical if it doesn't bother you. But you know what? I want it vertical, the screw head, so the other one's going to match. This one's easy, very easy after you get the spring in. Spring was laughing at me. It was like, yeah, you want to show the guys how easy? Check this out. Nope, nope, nope. No, I don't want to do that. Nope, don't want to do that. Okay. Like I said, start it off with your fingers. Because your fingers, you won't be able to cross thread it with your fingers. You can't use enough pressure with your fingers to cross thread. But with a screwdriver, yeah, you can cross thread it pretty easily, and then you screw up the threads and everybody's not happy. Okay. Snug it down, and then like I say, snug. Don't crank it. These are little screws, guys. So you don't want to go like all crazy on you on them. So there we go. It's all together. All done. Little bit of blade play. Little bit. Nope. None. None like this. See? No blade play. And it swings pretty smoothly already. But like I said, you just add a little WD. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let it soak in, work it in back and forth. You know, make sure that the safe side is on the safe handle before you start swinging, because if you do it the wrong way and the first time you go like this, ow, you're just gonna open up your finger. No good. All right, guys, so these two knives are the same as far as assembly is concerned, with the exception of these pin stop with the set pins, with the sex pins. A little bit of Teflon tape works well on these pins as a very light thread locker. You can use thread locker, but if you want to open them close, you want to remove, you know, like I like to take my knife apart often, so I'll just use this, and it works as a very light thread locker. It won't work as a permanent thread locker, and it will still come loose after a lot of play, but it still works as a thread locker a little bit. You might want to use a micrometer when you're sanding down washers, just to make sure that all 4 washers are close to the same measurement. Here's your you know, Spyderco sharpening stone, just for, I don't know why it's there. And there you go. There you go, Canada. One thing you want to do when you take this thing out of your package is you take a straight edge and, you know, make sure that that blade is straight. There's no gap between the straight edge and the side of the blades, you know, and there isn't. This blade is true. This blade had a little bit of a curve in it, and I had to straighten it, and it was, I can work with metal, and I know how to bend metal without breaking it or fatiguing it, so I had to correct this. But again, this is a $50 model. This is a $150 model. This is CNC machined. This is machined, but not CNC. CNC is computer controlled machining. This is it's done by a machine, but the measurements are done by human. So you input in the computer, you input your parameters, and the machine just goes and cuts these handles out, and that's why they're perfect. So anyway, I'm gonna make it short. I hope you enjoyed this video, since it's shorter than the last one, and you don't have to pack a lunch or eat popcorn on the way. Hail from Canada. So yeah. I hope you enjoyed this and keep flipping. See you guys.